You've done a lot. You received an academic scholarship to Curtin University, is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
You launched your own fashion label at 19, Eve of Adam, and you've showcased your label at a number of fashion shows, which is fantastic.
Yeah,
so I love your fashion label. It's gorgeous stuff.
Oh, thank you, Chevelle.
You're welcome. So what inspired you to do this?
Yeah, well, there's not a particular moment or a person I think that influenced me, but just a combination of factors. Like, for example, my family's very driven. I'm one of 5, and so it's always been quite competitive, and they've always, been doing their own thing. So that was one of the things that inspired me. But also, I guess it was one of those ideas always at the back of my mind that I wanted to run my own fashion label. And when I got to Perth, one of the first people I met was another Sydney-sider who's in PR and marketing, and she just told me to go for it. So, we're best friends to this day, and she was a massive influence on me in inspiring me to begin. So, yeah, that's sort of where it's all started.
Fabulous. And Lauren, what's been your biggest challenge in your business so far?
Personal life is probably the biggest impact on your business life, and I think because I moved over at 18, you can imagine what an 18-year-old wants to do when they get let loose from their parents. So that was probably my biggest challenge, just trying to find the balance between living life outside of the family home and still socialising and settling in to Perth. The second thing that probably caused the biggest challenge was I suffered from glandular fever in 2009, and it got to a point where I was only waking for maybe 3 or 4 hours a day and still trying to fit in the business in that time. So that was a big challenge, but definitely overcame that with just determination to make it work. But yeah, that's probably been the biggest challenge so far.
That's a pretty big challenge. So what keeps you motivated?
The people I keep around me are fantastic in keeping me motivated because they're so driven as well that you can imagine when we all get together, it's just so inspiring to keep going. And the other thing would definitely be I'm very motivated by seeing young women wear the garments and feel beautiful in them, and just watching how their conduct changes when they're wearing the garment, because you notice that they walk differently and they conduct themselves with more with a greater sense of self-worth, I think is the best way to put it, and that's just so motivating to me to keep going.
Yep, that's great. Now, if you had to start Eve of Adam again from scratch, what would you do differently?
I think I'd take things a little bit more slowly. Because I did Fashion Exposed in 2010, it meant that I pretty much had to get my business up and running in the space of 3 months whilst also working on the collection. And anyone who's in the fashion industry can tell you that that's pretty much doing the job of 9 months in 3 months. And when you're studying at uni as well, that's no fun. So I think if I had to do it again, I'd probably run things a little bit more organically and really celebrate each step within that process.
Yeah, because that's really important, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
So, Lauren, can I ask you, which living person do you most admire and why?
I've never actually put anyone on that pedestal and wanted to walk in their shoes. So I would have to say, once again, I've been quite selective about who I've kept around me while I've been here. And those people, they're all between 20 and 30 and doing great things in their fields. So that's certainly who I admire. In my everyday walk, I guess. But also my parents, because I think my parents really took leaps and bounds as well.
That's great. What would you say your distinctive qualities are?
Definitely going back to my determination, I think that's probably the most distinctive quality. Mum would like to say it's called stubbornness, but I like to put a good spin on it. I'm very adapted to change as well. I think that's certainly helped, and I am very open to self-criticism and other people's constructive criticism. And I think that's a massive thing when you're trying to start your own business, because it helps you sort of avoid the downfalls of just doing things your way every time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what 5 things could you not live without?
Oh, this is a hard one. Because I believe in God, number 1 would be God. Number 2 is definitely family. Number 3, close friends. Number 4 is those regular escapes from city life. Recently it's been Margaret River, New Zealand and Tasmania.
Oh,
You got to get out of the city, I think, regularly. And lastly, it's your own space, my own space to work in, because I think that makes a massive impact on how creative I am. If the space is filled with beautiful things that I love, I find myself constantly, engaged with what I'm doing. So that's the 5 things I couldn't live without.
And what are your top 3 tips that you would give?
Yep, to anyone. I think most importantly, always do things with excellence. Like, I've noticed that I've been given greater opportunities because of my attitude more so than my skills, which I find very funny, but it sort of broadens your horizons if you just do things with a great attitude. Secondly, I'd say keep like-minded, positive people around you, as I said before, and lastly, have a motivation outside of yourself and outside of just making money, because I think when things get tough, you need to have an ulterior reason for what you're doing.
Yep, that's great advice. So would you like to finish the interview by telling us a bit more about yourself and where we can find you?
Yeah, of course. Well, Eva Vadim is focused on making feminine, simple but innovative shift dresses out of natural fibres. So I mostly work in silk, and everything that you can buy from Eva Vadim is handmade in my studio in East Perth. So you're going to get a quality garment that will last you a long time. This season I'm currently working with a beautiful powder blue and mint green with some natural coloured silks as well. Very excited to bring that collection out later this year. I do private sales from my East Perth studio, but I also do wholesale orders, so businesses are more than welcome to get in touch with me as well. And if you'd like to check out our past season or the season coming, if you check out our Facebook or Twitter or the website at www.evavadim.com.au, or you can email me at info@evavadim.com.au. I can give you a little bit more information.
Excellent. Thanks, Lauren. And I'll put a link at the bottom of this interview so people can contact you. Everyone have a look at her collection. It's absolutely gorgeous. I love it. Thanks for your time, Lauren. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
Bye.